And 5 episodes later, we're finally at the end. So this video is still quite a personal message, just for me really. And I feel like obviously you guys will still be able to take some message from this last one, but as is suggested by the title, it's looking back before you go running into life. There are so many cool things you can do in life, so many big goals, but they might feel a little empty if you don't look back once in a while. If you don't remind yourself of not only how far you've come, but also looking back is a really good way of gauging or understanding what you genuinely want to do in life. The fun times you had, maybe the fun activities you had in the past are also really good in order to maybe progress further in life as well. When you look back, you're also able to learn. You're also able to remind yourself of the lessons you learned back then, so you can continue to use them in the future. But as we saw in this episode, it's all about the power of memories. Because at the end of life, this is all you really have. And as we talk about later on about how to take memories efficiently, the goal here right now as I talk about is that you need to understand that as much as you can look forward and look at doing all these cool things and complex ideas and all these goals you want to chase, sometimes looking back is reminding yourself why you're doing those things in the first place. Yes, you can go forward and do these things and just kind of purpose. It's always reminding yourself why you're chasing these goals, reminding yourself of who you were before, and then by doing that, also helping you to better achieve those goals in the first place. For example, I don't really have a purpose for something. I don't really have a career I want to do. But when I look back to when I was in primary school, I remember that I always had this idea that I couldn't beat those really high achievers in our school. That they were always just on top of me, and that I couldn't do anything. I was just stuck here. And as I continue on HC right now, I'm kind of using that fuel, that energy I had right there, even though it's not really my purpose. I'm kind of using that energy to fuel my study because I have to study in the first place anyways. I'm using that to say that I can prove myself wrong when I was in the past. I can show that I can do these things that I thought before I couldn't. Kind of idea of looking back is also reminding yourself of who you were before and how not only how much you've changed, but using that idea or that person you were before to feel and continue doing the things that you want to do, such as studying, as I explained just then. It's using that past version of myself that I thought I couldn't do anything good, or that I couldn't improve, and using that to feel what I want to do in the future. So, in a sense, looking back is also helping what you want to do in the future by reminding yourself of why you're doing something, as well as seeing how far you've come. And before we start, of course, everyone is different. How you approach memories, whether that's through actual photos like I do, I put them on my wall, or whether you want to just keep them on your phone or on your laptop, is completely up to you. As we talk about later in this episode, I will be talking about all of these things. And definitely, if you want to do your own thing, that's obviously up to you. So, everyone treats memories differently, and I'm pretty sure you do. Find the one that best suits you, and of course, just go for it. And now on to the second section, which is about how remembering life is deleting memories. So you're like, Josh, what is that's counterintuitive. Why would you be deleting? You should be getting more, right? The kind of understanding here is that we take so many photos nowadays with our phones that most of the photos, if you actually look back at your photo gallery, is that they just kind of become redundant. And that's also another big problem is that we take so many photos, we never actually look back on them. How are you going to remember life if you never look back on them? We take these photos just because we were in the moment. But it's actually looking back on them and deleting the ones you don't need. That is truly looking back on life and keeping the things that you truly hold dear. And as we talk about later, some photos you don't really care about, some photos you do. For example, sometimes maybe when I went out with a friend or something, I had some photos there. And every photo reminds you of something. Maybe it's a good time, maybe it's a bad time. Right? Every single photo has that kind of idea. And it's about identifying the important and the unimportant ones. For example, the photos which I really didn't find important were the ones that I went out with friends and I didn't really do anything, or they weren't really the friends I wanted to be with. Kind of understanding those photos is also to help you in the future as well. Are these the people you want to be with, or maybe you did some event and you didn't really like it, and through looking back on these things, you remind yourself do you want to do this in the future or not. So kind of looking back at memories is also understanding which are the unimportant and which ones are the important ones. And as we talk about later in this episode with Liang, Aston, Alvin, it's memories like those really important ones you want to do again. And if the memories like maybe you went out with a friend, you didn't really do anything, or it was just these weren't your friends, you just didn't really like it. These are the memories you don't want to make again. And it's understanding to help you make decisions in the future as to whether you want to continue these things or not. And as we continue with this idea of important memories, not only is it being able to regularly look at memories you genuinely care about, but also being able to make more in the future. For example, looking back on them, when I'm studying, on the desk I have in front of it, I have a wall where I have some photos of family I genuinely care about. That is also one way to remember these things regularly, not just putting them in a drawer and never looking at them ever again. As well as being able to make more memorable or genuine memories in the future. It's like, for example, for me personally, I take selfies every 4 days of just anything in the house that I haven't seen in a while, right? And also being able to journal regularly, just every day, journaling my thoughts down is really good as well. So the differentiation here is the memories you actually want to keep and the things you don't want to keep. Times where you went out with friends that were really good, or times where you went out that was really bad. And it could even just be things like the mundane in the house. I remember when I was in China, I just took a photo of the house I was, my cousin's house in China. I took a photo of every single room. And now that I look back, I'm like, this was so worth it. But at the time, I was like, oh, why was I taking photos? But it's also understanding that the things you do in the past will also have an effect on you in the future. Just because I was taking photos of every single room in my house when I was in China, now that I look back, I really, really am thankful that I did it then. So obviously, being able to make memories now is understanding that you're doing this for your future self as well. So have that in mind when you're making more memories as well. And now we're on to the next section, which is learning how to move on from the past. And I feel like personally in my own experience, this is a really big problem during years 7 to 9. During years 7 to 9, I was in high school and I really, really, really wanted to go back to Alvin West, my primary school. So maybe during the weekends, I would often go back to the cola and just stare up at the sky and be at the school. I feel like the biggest problem, and I feel like the biggest reasons why we can't move on from the past, is that we feel like the past has something that we don't have right now. We feel like that it has some joys and happy times that right now we feel like crap, or everything around us is caving in on us, and that the world is just going to fall apart. The problem with learning how to move on is that you have to understand and you have to find something you want to genuinely do. The reason why we want to go back to the past and relive these happy memories is because we want to escape from what we have right now. We're trying to escape from the present. Maybe it's stress, maybe it's hardship, maybe it's sadness. We want to escape from these things and go back to the past. The problem with that, and I feel like the biggest solution with that, is you need to find something you genuinely care about. It's removing social media. It's removing these distractions you don't genuinely care about and finding something you genuinely do. For example, for me, it's making this video series, or maybe it's even studying. The point is, when you find something you genuinely want to do, or just anything you want to do, what I call unfinished business, when you find something like that, you start to forget about the past. Because when you're able to find something, when you're able to make your own happiness in the present right now, you don't really want to, you'll realize that the happiness you had in the past will stay there. And you kind of like look back over that and recognize it. And even though you can't go back to the past, it was nice you had it in the first place. So part of learning how to move on is creating your own happiness right now. It's improving yourself. It's being yourself. It's all the things we talked about all those episodes ago. It's understanding that the things you can control, you can improve. That is how you learn to move on. That is how you learn to move on from the past, because you understand you can make your own happiness now. Yes, the past had really fun times and maybe it's even better than now. But the thing is, you can make your own. You can make your own path. And understanding that is really just understanding that you can improve. You have all these goals and ambitions you want to do in the future. And when you find those things, you understand, you'll kind of look back on the past and be like, it was nice while I had it, but now we've got to move on. And that's how you learn to move on. And I feel like kind of how I personally see memories is through this analogy. So imagine you're in this like a really, really large train station. There are trains on either side as far as the eye can see. They all take you to different places, maybe one to the mountains, under the sea, or even to some random grassland. The point is, all these trains take you somewhere in life. That's the point. Maybe to university, careers, or gap year. We all have these things we want to do in life, and all these trains are going to take us there. The thing is, we're going to get on these trains, and they're going to build our focus, right? They're going to get faster and faster, and just like focusing on something over a long amount of time, we're going to go better and better at it. But sometimes our train will stop for a break. Maybe we'll look back and get off the train, and we'll look back and see all our memories back in the distance, all the way at that train station where we first got on. The point is, memories, just like as we talk about right after section with this, like the sky, some things in life never change. Like the sky and the clouds, memories never change. The thing is that only the things that will change are the things that we do in the future. And then you'll probably get back on the train and you'll continue to focus on the terrain around you. That's kind of how I think focus is. Focus is focusing on something around you and having the time to look back before you go running into life. All these memories are still very, very important as we talk about, but it's also focusing on the things that are around you. Memories are still in the past, So don't spend too long gauging over them, because at the end of the day, it's the things, it's the new terrain around you. It's a new path the train is going on that is your main focus, and really is the beauty of life. And now on to the next section, which is coming to terms with who you were before. When I was still on social media and had the rare chance of going back and looking at old photos of myself, I remember I kind of distanced myself away from him. I kind of had this idea that, you know, that who I was before isn't who I want to become later. That this person that was weird, hyperactive, energetic, and massive forehead, and kind of honestly looks like he's high, was just a weird part of myself that I pushed away. I didn't like that younger part of myself who always wanted to have fun and play around and goof around. And I felt that as I was on social media, that this part of me that I had neglected was really hurting who I wanted to be. You see, he was always a part of me. No matter how many times I pushed him away, pretended I wasn't him, or called him like weird and cringe, that younger part of myself is still and always will be part of who I am. I like to have fun, I like to go crazy, and I like to be goofy, and I like to do things without being judged. The problem here is that with social media, that it kind of put labels on these kind of ideas I had of my past self. That, yeah, no, he was weird and cringe, that you should stay away, you shouldn't act like this. And I feel that that's such a big problem with social media, because it kind of directs everyone to focus on a singular goal, onto a single idea of a person, and remove all these bad parts of yourself. That all these parts of yourself, maybe when younger, is, for example, for me, that maybe these younger parts of yourselves shouldn't be ideals or goals you should aim for. These are things that should be rejected, and that being yourself kind of going on social media was realizing that it wasn't being yourself anymore, but it was being someone you were not. It's in realizing that all these weird or cringe parts of yourself you don't genuinely dislike. You only hate on them because you're afraid of being judged by others. For example, as we go back to my younger self, I was afraid that other people would judge me, that, like, you know, this large, big forehead, hyperactive, energetic kid that everyone would hate on. So I pretended that, you know, this wasn't part of me, you know, no. I pretended that this wasn't someone I was. And I feel like that's such a big problem with social media, because what your understanding is that these are all parts of who you are. There's no point in trying to hide it and being someone else, because being yourself is the greatest thing you could ever do. And by getting off social media and by embracing these parts of yourselves, yes, I am weird and goofy and sometimes kind of hyperactive, you realize that they aren't even that bad in the first place. You were just scared of other people judging you. And by doing that, you were always just hiding in fear. So, just get off social media, and maybe you'll realize that this younger version of yourself, however weird or cringy it was, is still a part of you. And what is part of you is amazing. And now on to the main section of the video, which is my personal reason for making this entire episode really based on this one event. And it was a day out with Liang, Aston, and Alvin, and as you may notice, it is also the channel's profile picture. As said before with memories, some seem to only last a few days, and we just seem to forget them after some time. And some seem to stick with us forever. This day out is one of those. And I think if there's one thing this day has taught me over any other normal day out, is that we went crazy, did whatever the hell we wanted, and broke all the rules. But there was no punishment. You see, normally in real life, obviously if you break the law or the rules, you can probably go to jail or get a punishment. But on social media, there are no rules and there is no punishment. The only thing there is that how other people will judge you. For example, if you post a story, other people online will probably judge you in this way, or such and such. The thing is, on that day out, on that fateful day when I went out with Liang, Aston, and Alvin, we broke all the rules, did whatever the hell we wanted, and we lived life like there was no end. The thing is, there is no punishment for being yourself. The only thing there is that's stopping you from being yourself is how other people will judge you. And as we learn more and more, as we go later in episode, as we learn more about the day out, it's understanding that there is nothing wrong with being yourself. There is no punishment for being yourself. The only thing that is stopping you is how other people will see you. Yes, definitely on that day out, other people definitely saw us as pretty weird, but I think that there's no punishment for being weird, there's no punishment for being yourself, and you see it's quite ironic. In real life, you would be scared to break laws or rules because you'd go to jail, you'd get a punishment. But we're so scared to be ourselves and be weird, but there's no punishment. The only thing that is there is people will judge us. We're so scared that people will judge us, we don't even do the things that we genuinely want to. And I think that's why I love this day out so much. You see, we're so scared that we want to satisfy everyone so no one will judge us. But isn't that kind of the point, right? Some people will like us, some people won't. The whole point, as we talk about in episode 4, is to be friends with the people who enjoy the same things as we do. Yes, sure, some people will dislike us, but the point is to make friends that will stick with us forever, to the very end. And not to be friends with the people who dislike us and will judge us for being ourselves. And so we're finally here onto a very brief recap of what happened on that day, with me, Liang, Aston, and Alvin. So, really, only the 4 of us will truly understand what happened on our day out, but I'll try to give you guys a very brief recap as well. So, on September 26, 2023, the 4 of us went to the CBD. From crossing the Harbour Bridge, Alvin's ass in front of a cannon, playing primary school dress up with real expensive clothes at some department store. Like, bro, I swear we just ran around without shoes on to try on clothes. We were like menaces. Almost getting my camera taken by some security guard at a Prada store, goofing around on the Sydney Tower Eye, what is Aston looking at? And we even went swimming at bois Beach. The amount of stuff we did that day, it was crazy. And Alvin, if you're watching this, next time getting in the water with us at bois Beach. So the amount of stuff we did that day was absolutely crazy. And to be honest, I can't even show half the photos because if my parents see it, you probably wouldn't hear the rest of me. Needless to say, we went absolutely crazy, did whatever the hell we wanted to, and more importantly, we did it with a smile on our faces. In fact, we were 4 completely different people, and in fact, I only met Aston that day, but that doesn't stop you from genuinely having fun if you're just being yourself. You see, other people will judge you, they will say things about you, but as long as you're genuinely being yourself and having fun, there's no punishment for that. You're not in the wrong for anything, so why should you be scared of doing it? It's also an understanding that, yes, people will judge us, people will hate on us, and people will like us. The goal isn't to satisfy everyone in life, because that wouldn't be yourself. The idea is to make friends with people who you genuinely align with what you're doing. To make friends with people who genuinely like being yourself, right? To make friends with people who genuinely like who you are. Not because you are pretending to be someone else you're not, or trying to fit in with what everyone else does, but because you're genuinely being yourself. You're not holding anything back. You're not trying to pretend that you're doing something else. The whole point is to find friends that genuinely align with who you are so you can always be yourself around them. Wouldn't that just be better than pretending to be yourself? And I feel like what this day out with Liang, Aston, and Alvin really means to me is that although we shouldn't always try to break the rules in life, sometimes we should. Because it's only when we break the rules in life that we truly have fun and truly live with no regrets. Because it's easy to live a life that everyone else does, playing it safe, but sometimes we gotta have fun. Sometimes we gotta understand that we really do have one life. And so we should probably live it more to the fullest. And as I emailed the boys on Gmail, I'm gonna say the same thing on video as well. Wherever our paths go in life, however far we go apart after high school, I will never forget this day. It reminds me that all you need to have fun, even if we were 4 totally different people, was just to be yourself. That's what we did the whole day. Mucked about, went crazy, and did it all with a smile on our faces. We didn't care who was watching us, we just did it anyways. And when I look back and laugh at those funny times, we were just ourselves. I realized that having fun in life is something I need more of. That kind of fun where you can be yourself and not give a shit about what other people care about. That only is type of fun. To be totally and shamelessly yourself. And more importantly, it's absolutely crazy to think I'll be able to grab so many great memories only from one day out. And hey, Liang, Aston, and Alvin, if you guys are watching this, we should definitely go out on another day out to the city again. So what's next? As we talked about in episode 2, it's about drawing out a mind map again and writing down the things you genuinely want to do in life. The important things that you want to do, maybe this year or next year. And just choosing one and going for it. Life is long, it's short. That's not for you to determine. But what you can determine is what you genuinely want to do. What is the most important thing right now to prevent regret in the future, as we talk about in episode 2. And of course, again, don't try and sit there and think, do I go to university, do a gap year first? The whole point of life is to try things. If you never try things, you never actually know what it is like to do them. You can't sit there and determine something without actually trying it. So, it's better to actually try something than just sitting there trying to plan your way out while life moves on without you. Choose something and just go for it, because it's better than doing nothing. The worst thing you can do in life is sit there and try to find the best solution, when the best solution is to just try things and then see how things go. And using the analogy that life is a road as evidenced by this channel's name, Kind of think of yourself as like a car on this road of life. Yes, first time after high school, you might not go to the destination you want to, but you're always able to switch onto different roads. If you stay still in the middle of the road, you're gonna not only block the people behind you, but more importantly, life moves on without you. You're not gonna get close to a destination or further away from it, but you're just gonna stay still. Nothing changes if you don't change. It's better to get closer to at least some destination or some road than just to sit there. Because at least if you're going closer to some destination, you have ideas of maybe like, is this the right road for you? Do I need to change? Or maybe this is the right place to go. If you sit there and do nothing, nothing will happen. So, at least in life, this one thing I can leave you with, just try something. Try things and go along this road of life. Because as always, if you do nothing, then you won't be able to experience anything and you can't really have anything to go off with. The whole idea of life is to try these new things. And if you never try them, then you'll never know if they actually work for you or not. It's better to try these things that might not work for you because you know next time that you're not going to go on that road, or next time maybe every single experience that you have leads you to something new. As always, that leading you on a new road, as much as it might not be for you, it is always going to teach you something new about life. Maybe that might not be exactly where you want to go, or maybe it might be something where you could learn something new in some new area. But the whole point is that if you try something new, whether you like it or not, it's going to teach you something about life. Sitting there and doing nothing isn't. Okay, this very short section here is dedicated to an app. This is not an advertisement, but it's dedicated to Google Photos. Now, obviously, as we talked about memories earlier in this video, I feel like Google Photos personally for me, okay, it might sound really weird, but when you buy the premium version, so it's insanely cheap. But when you buy it, you're able to share photos between people. And so I shared photos with my mom. And so one of the biggest advantages of doing this is that I get to see all of my childhood photos because my mom used Google Photos. So I get to see all of my childhood photos just because I just paid for this really insanely cheap subscription. So I would highly, highly recommend it because the amount of memories you get is just unbridled joy, man. And it is crazy because Google Photos has these things where you can like review these memories every day. And so instead of like going on YouTube every day, that's what I just kind of do in my break time every day. So I just go over the memories that I've had. And when you have your parents like kind of like shared photos, I mean, there's so many childhood photos that you can like, when you see it, you instantly remember it. So it's absolutely wonderful. I would definitely highly check out Google Photos if your parents use it as well. So definitely buy the subscription. It is really, really cheap and it's so good because the advantages you get from it. So I would highly recommend it. Of course, this is not an advertisement. I just really, really enjoy this and it's really, really good. Alright, on to the last section of the video. And if there's some final advice I can leave you guys with, it's to do what you say, not say what you do. The whole point of life is to try things. It's action. I've spent the past 1.5 years doing it. I didn't sit here and watch a video series online like you guys and just said, okay, well, I know all the information now and now my life is suddenly better. It is 1.5 years of improvement. You start from this basic level and you keep on working up. Don't think that results are going to come up in a click. The whole point, and I think the beauty of the journey is that to see yourself evolve. It's this slow amount of progress, and it's not saying that, oh, I could be better tomorrow, like there's so many better things above me. It's being happy with what level you are at right now and continually building on that every single day. I really believe it is an every single day commitment. And that's not bad, but it's understanding that every single day really affects how you're going to turn up at the end. Every single day is a new way, it's a new refresh for you to start doing good habits, doing the things you said you were going to do. It's things like action over planning, and I think this is best demonstrated with me making this video series. As much as planning is good to understand and gauge how much you need to do for a certain thing or task, for example, with this video series, I thought I was going to finish it under 3 weeks. I was going to finish it in 2 weeks, but I'm at the end of the 3rd week now. It's all about planning. You can never truly understand or plan for something if you never actually try it. It's understanding that 5 minutes of action is better than 1 year of planning. You can never really plan something you never actually try. So of course, take this from me, but always make sure you have some action involved. It's good to just watch this video series and take in this information and plan stuff out, but if you never actually apply it, not only will you never actually get the benefits of doing it, but you will also never understand what you need to change or if things are going right for you or maybe you need to change something else. So Always make sure to put action over planning. Yes, planning is important, but action is the whole reason why you plan. So make sure you always act. And start this action by breaking away from everyone else. The understanding being that only you truly understand what you want to do in life. So start listening to yourself more, removing social media and distractions, and really understanding what you genuinely want in life. Because as much as everyone else is good for like advice and help, only you truly understand the problems you have in life. And by listening to other people, you're being swayed by their opinions or their thoughts, and instead of focusing on your problems, you're starting to focus on what everyone else wants to do. So, always remember, and I feel like this is really big, to just do things yourself, right? Because only you truly understand your life, and at the end of the day, if you're following other people, it's not really actually going to benefit you in the end. So, please, just break away from everyone else. I feel like on social media, or like I just talked with friends recently that, that if they didn't have social media, the whole world would be like completely like dark, and that they would be like isolated or something. But if you never try it, you'll never actually know. As much as people like to talk about situations that might happen, if you never actually do it, then you'll never know. And personally for me, I'm still not on social media at all, and I'm going to continue doing this because this is what I personally love. So if you never try it, of course you'll never know. So please, if there's something you can do, just try breaking away from everyone else, action over planning, and just be yourself. And if there's one final thing I can leave you from this video series is that no one ever gets it right first time. If this week if you tried something productive or you tried doing some habits or scheduling, maybe it didn't really work out. The whole point of doing these things is to trial and error, but also to understand where you went wrong and to continuously improve every single day. The whole point the whole point of this isn't just to say that, oh, this is how it's going to go, and each day you continue to go down. It's every day being able to find what you went wrong with and being able to improve the next day. And if you're still scared or you're still worried about these things, don't worry about today. Maybe today wasn't as good as you would want it to, because tomorrow is a brand new day. So go live it your way.